Hello, this is Danny Beasley, and I am checking in from the Copia Center project under development in Georgetown, Texas. I did the last video I did was a general overview of what the Copia Center is, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos breaking down the different components of the center itself to better explain what they are, what the purpose of them is, and then how we plan on bringing it about. In addition to that, I just wanted to check back in and say we've had some good meetings today. Met with the mayor of the city today, as well as a large funder, and we got some really good feedback. Everyone seems to be very much on board with the concept, and now, of course, the work is still here to manifest the project, and it takes a lot of effort to get to that point, but we're getting good feedback, so it lets me know we're onto something of value here, and very excited about what the future has in store. So today I'm going to explain a bit about the FabLab component. Um, uh, we talked a bit about the FabLab, and in fact, that's the core of what the facility is. That's what's all kind of built around. FabLab, it stands for Fabrication Laboratory. Some people may be more familiar with the model of a makerspace. There's a distinct difference between a FabLab and a makerspace, at least in my eyes. A makerspace is a space where there are tools and equipment and materials where people are creative. And it can be high-tech tools, it can be low-tech tools, it can be founded materials, or it can be really expensive materials. It doesn't really matter what they are. It's just about people having access to things and being creative with them. But a Fab Lab is a distinctly different model. There is a bit of a structured network of Fab Labs around the world. And then there is a minimum tool spec required within the facility. So typically you have more of a high-tech tool focus. We're talking 3D printers, CNC machines, laser cutters, etc. You can find all those inside of a makerspace, but you can't have a Fab Lab without those. In addition to the equipment, you also have a focus on learning the discipline or learning the skills of the equipment itself. At least a lot of the spaces I've worked in the past, I have a very big focus on the workforce development component. I want people to be familiar and tech savvy with the equipment itself. I want them to be able to repair the stuff, operate it efficiently, and also know how to design for them in the first place. A bit about the Fab Labs themselves is the high-tech shop class is always the way that I explain it. I've developed a number of these and help people bring about some version of that into their schools and different facilities. And it's about cultivating and bringing all the tools together. Now, the first Fab Lab, official Fab Lab, was developed in 2001 at MIT. There's a gentleman named Neil Gershenfeld from the Center for Bits and Atoms. They put together a large grant, received about $15 million to develop that first Fab Lab. It stands for Fabrication Laboratory. They pulled together a bunch of automated industrial equipment from a wide variety of industries, put all that equipment in one room, and then created a course called How to Make Almost Anything. And then they would take students and they would move them, and we're talking about MIT students, so we're talking about people who are very savvy and academically talented as well. So it wasn't for the average user at that time. But they took all the equipment, put it in the same room, and then the students would move from equipment to equipment, learning what the equipment is, how it operates, what software you need in order to design for them, what are the limitations of the machines themselves, what are the materials that are possible. So we're talking about size, capacity in the equipment, and the basics on how to deal with operations, minor repair, any kind of tuning necessary in order to make it work efficiently. And then they would proceed by moving to the next piece of equipment and the next piece of equipment until they have made it around the entire facility. At the end of that semester, students were then given an assignment of a very simple task of make something. Now that you have access and knowledge about all this different equipment, and before this first lab was built, much of this equipment had not been in the same space at the same time before. That was a very unique thing at that time. But the students got that assignment of make something. And of course, you have all kinds of new knowledge and new skills and new access to equipment that will help you create new things that have never been thought of before. A lot of the innovation that we see within Fab Labs actually happen in between machines, in between things that don't normally sit next to each other in the same space. And someone is looking at that with a very fresh mind and a fresh set of eyes that is not a professional fabricator or manufacturer. And they can see opportunity that others cannot. And that is why I really focus on Fab Labs, because it helps people create new connections that haven't yet existed. And it's also why I have kind of an addiction to the novelty. I have a very strong interest in the varying types of equipment that exists out there um, in order to help create more opportunity and more ideas and more possibilities. Um, So that's where the Fab Lab started. There is a structured network of Fab Labs around the world. There's an organization called the Fab Foundation, which oversees this network. It is very loose, but there's a global conference every year where people get together someplace around the world. This last year it was in Bali. I went to attended one of those in Peru. Uh, was it Peru? I don't know. Yeah, I think it was Peru. But anyways, you know, I've been to a few of these before in the past, and it's really great and awesome to get together with different people, seeing what they're doing. People are sharing their best practices. There's a lot of high-end academic research happening in these facilities. There's new equipment being designed and created. There are people pushing existing equipment to bounds and having it do things that nobody's ever seen before. And so it's really good to kind of feed off of each other with these ideas within the space. Um, in addition to that, it works well for teaching vocational and technical skills. Um, it works really well, and this is my primary focus, on inspiring people to learn. When you help someone understand that there is an application for their interests, that there's a way to manifest those things that they thought were good ideas, giving them access and the tools, etc., to do so, helps them learn and helps give them the motivation to learn in the first place. Once you give someone that motivation, once they find their thing that inspires them to get up in the morning and stay up late at night doing research and studying and understanding how to use these things, that is a person who you can't stop anymore. And they really don't need an academic system at that point to move forward. They just need that continued access, and as well as mentorship. You always need someone to bounce ideas off of. You always need someone to talk to about these ideas. And that's in large part what we provide within a Fab Lab. So this is just a brief description of the Fab Lab and the Fab Lab component and what it will be. We're looking at a total facility of probably in the ballpark around 15,000 square feet, which means we'll have a active shop space of, I'm going to say, 7 to 9,000 square feet. So we'll have decent size, decent capacity there. And of course, we'll be looking at woodworking, metalworking, electronics, textiles, 3D printing, laser cutting. Hopefully, we'll be bringing in some water jets, robotic arms, and who knows what else I'll be able to get my hands on at the time. Print shop. I use die sublimation printers quite a bit within these spaces. They're very unique and interesting tools. A print cut machine. These are basically sticker makers, which are wonderful for doing product run or giving people that first project that says, "Ooh, I'm really curious now because I get to make this really cool custom sticker." These are all the different kinds of tools that will exist within the space itself, and I'm very excited and encouraged by the progress that we've had today. And we're going to be making a series of updates and videos to be able to share with everybody. So I appreciate anybody who's watching this in the first place, and I hope to be able to update again within 3 or 4 days, maybe the end of the week. We'll be doing another video and talking about the next component, which will be Fab City. So we'll be doing an update on what a Fab City is and why it's a core component of this work and this project. So once again, my name is Danny Beasley, signing off from Georgetown, Texas, here in my own home little shop. And this is all about the Copia Center for, I'm augmenting it now, for regional self-reliance. Just a little correction there. I got some good feedback on that idea of Copia Center for Self-Reliance, and heard from somebody that says it doesn't really talk about community. or about working together. That self-reliance means I'm doing it by myself. And so we've added in this regional self-reliance component. So the Copia Center for Regional Self-Reliance. And it's about how do we take this region and help this region be self-sustaining. All right. Thank you again. For more details and information, you can go to copiacenter.org. COPIA center.org.